she didn't even want him to even touch her. And
Uh,
I never could understand that. And they said that was her way of detaching. She was
yeah,
trying to make it easy on all of us.
yeah.
So fast forward, uh, she dies, and I have never felt such pain. I can remember going to the cemetery and it was snowing, and I would just fall on her grave and just cry. And at that point, um, it was like, God, help me. I can't get through this. And through her dying, it was shown to me, and this is what I've always believed, that she could, I think she chose, and this may not make sense, but I feel like she chose to go. She was only 62 years old when she died, to go so that I could have a personal relationship with the Lord, because she knew I was totally dependent on her, and
Mm-hmm.
she wanted me to be totally dependent on the Lord. And she knew that if she kept staying, I would never realize that God is real.
Yeah,
And I have believed that, because what she died from, it never should have happened. It just should not
yeah,
have happened. So
yeah.
then my walk with the Lord became very, very real, because I felt like if I had detached from my body, and it was like I detached, I could see my body, the frame of my body, and I could see just nothing but blood running down my heart. That's how bad it was. Uh, that I wished I had that close relationship with her, growing up,
Mm-hmm.
being in college. It's just I missed out on 20 years, a good 20 years. And once you all were born is exactly when she and I became close.
Yeah,
So uh, I buried her. At that time, I was going through. I was not. I was not happy, because I was taking care of my mom. My marriage wasn't the best at the time, so I was lonely. It was just like I was walking around with an empty shell, and I never had the thought of killing myself or nothing like that.
mm-hmm.
That thought never crossed, and I never got mad at God, because
Mm-hmm.
I knew she wasn't suffering anymore.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I was by myself, because my dad, had started dating at that time, and God just became very real. He became so real to me that I knew that there was something to it, to the power.
yeah,
I knew what the Holy Spirit was, because too many things would happen. For example, uh, she helped me financially, okay,
mm-hmm.
and she had just bought me a new van.
Yeah,
Now, I had been doing nuclear power. And so when she got sick, I left a job from $75 an hour back in 85 to $5 an hour at Norando as the receptionist.
mm-hmm.
So I was building a house at the same time. And I just knew that once she died, I was going to lose everything,
Yeah,
everything, because I just didn't have that help, that support. So I said, well, and I told you guys, I said, because the van didn't have that insurance on it. So, which meant my house note was $500. The van payment was like two or $300. And I only made like $500 every 2 weeks. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I didn't make enough to pay the house payment and the van payment.
yeah,
So I was stressing over that, but God came through, and it was like once I talked to my creditors, um, because my house note was in Scottsboro. They worked with me. I would make my house note 1 month, and then the car payment the next month.
mm-hmm.
Now, who will allow stuff like that to happen?
Yeah,
Go pay this and then this and that. Only God opened that door.
yeah,
And I remember telling you all, I don't know if you remember this. I said the worst thing could happen is that we lose everything. We had 15 acres of land. We had a nice house. Um, I said, the worst thing could happen, we'll lose all of this. I said, but if we have to go in government housing, at least we will be together, the three of us, the four of
Mhm.
us. And but God allowed us to stay in the house. And then you know, fast forward, she came to me in a dream. I met Abe, and this was in 97. She died in 94. So there was like a three-year lapse where I was by myself, you know, but and I was working, you know, they would let me work on Saturdays to kind of, you know, help with my finances, which did help. But then I remember when I met Abe, I took Casey with me, and everybody said, "Oh, you taking Casey to meet a man you met in the newspaper?" You know, and I said, "Well, yeah, and nothing's gonna happen." And I remember my cousin said, "You got 15 minutes. If I don't hear from you in 15 minutes, I'm calling the police." Anyway, we go, and I had told him I weighed 300 pounds, and you know, and
All
he
these
said, "That's
things.
fine." Yeah, so Casey was with me, and Casey peeps through the door, and she says, "Mom, he has nice furniture just like us." And you know how, because his he had a townhouse, so you know how you know somebody's looking at you. And I said, "Casey, get away from the door. Get away from the door." You know, he's looking at us. I don't see nobody, you know. So he comes to the door, and you know, if you ever believed there was love at first sight, I just knew he was the one, but I didn't know he knew that. So he
Mhm.
gives me a white rose and a card. It was a Hallmark card.